Good afternoon, good morning. Hey Pips Apprentice, how are you doing? Hey Diana, good to see you. Hope you're all well. Just let me make sure everything's working fine. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so a number of things to get through today. Let me just make sure that's working. Okay. Hey Jack, good to see you. All right, now that's changed. Okay, fantastic. Daily market analysis again. Anyone else? We were talking about the US yen that dropped right down to our take profit and beyond. Anyone got onto that? Let me know. I did catch that trade. I caught the pound as well. Did not catch the gold. Big shoot up to the upside. Anyone got onto any trades? Do let me know. Hey Jimmy, good to see you. How you doing? And if you are new to the session, as usual, please drop a message. Say hi. Let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, I hope you caught some of the trades from yesterday, like what Jimmy did, 130 pips on the US yen, I guess. Well done, very nice. For all the regulars, thank you for joining me again. Do remember, help me out, click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, whether you're on TradingView or on YouTube or Trading Live or whichever platform you're on. And you're watching this, do click that like and subscribe button. During this daily market analysis, what I do is I'll share with you my views on the fundamentals, the technicals, and look for some possible trade setups. These are all done on the H1 time frame. We saw some very good setups yet from yesterday. Well, that played out very nicely. The pound dollar, the US yen, the gold a lot more than we expected. And we saw some surprises from the RBNZ as well. Right, so and also member Waller who was speaking last night. I'll tell you more about that shortly. Okay, Diana caught the US yen, great trade, or did not catch it, but caught the US CAD, loonie, and the pound dollar. Very nice. Hey D-Train, good morning. How are you doing? Okay, so before we move on, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. Please remember that the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. With that, good afternoon, Ted. How are you doing? Jumping straight into the guts of it, let's look at what happened since the last time we spoke. Well, we spoke at 3 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m. yesterday, GMT plus 8. And since then, so that was the 3 o'clock timing, since then the main thing that happened was we saw US consumer confidence was released a lot better than expected. Right, was 102.6, expected 101, came out at 102, so better than expected. But the main feature was from member Waller at 11:05 p.m. GMT plus 8. Surprised markets a little bit as member Waller said that good economic arguments that if inflation continues falling for several more months, that you could lower policy rate. Is putting the idea back that they could cut rates. It has always been increasing or keeping it on hold. Now the talk is about lower policy rates, about cutting rates. Okay, and that's why we saw a big drop on the dollar index. I'll show you that shortly. Right, again, if inflation goes down, you could lower the policy rate. There's no reason to say that you would keep it really high if inflation is back to target. Waller on rate cuts, if you see this inflation, this lower inflation continuing on for several more months, don't know how long, that might be 3, 4, 5 months, you could then start lowering policy rate because inflation is lower. If it does keep lowering for 3, 4, 5 months, CPI or inflation in the US would be well within the FOMC's target range of 2 to 3%, thus justifying the need, or not the need, the approval, or meeting the requirements to cut rates, right? And 3, 4, 5 months now, we're in, well, we're almost in December, so we're looking at pretty much within the first half of next year, we might be looking at a start of rate cuts in the US. Not saying that it's confirmed, but we might be looking at a start at rate cuts in the US. And because of those comments at 11 p.m. GMT plus 8 last night, you see that, I'll zoom in here on the dollar index, right at 11, right? We saw the dollar index test that trend line as we expected and reverse from that. So that was a big tick there as it worked out nicely. Pushed down, expected it to come down, so we're expecting it to test that 103 support and head lower to 102.80. It came down to 103. It did push down to 102.80, but because of that comment from member Waller, we actually saw bigger downside moves. So it came down, tested 102.80, and then pushed right through that interim support level, right? Because of that talk about a possible rate cut in the 3, 4, 5 months time. And then after that, it came all the way down to 102.50 before now bouncing back up again. Okay, and again, if we check the CME Fed Watch 2, you'd see that when it loads, I should load this up ahead of time next time. It's taking a while. All right, see? So now we had 95.4%, keeping it on current 4.6% for a rate hike. This was on the 27th. Yesterday was about 96 point something percent with 3 point something percent to keep on a rate hike. Now again, it swung back the other way, 98.9% to keep it on a rate, on the current rates, with a slim chance of 1.1% for a rate cut. I'm not factoring the chance of a rate cut in December. I don't think we've seen enough data in terms of CPI, in terms of inflation growth or inflation slowdown to justify that rate cut. But you can see the tendency or the sentiment of the markets of expecting the Feds not to hike rates anymore, keeping it on the current level. Maybe in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months moving ahead, we'll see that drop from current and that increase to start seeing more likelihood of rate cuts. All right, so that comment from member Waller here, together with that shift towards a small 1.1% chance of a rate cut, saw the dollar index push to the downside. All right, tested 102.50, formed a little bit of a hammer there. You can see price action formed a little bit of a hammer there, now pushing back up again. So we'll look for today, we'll look at how much it could retrace by before possibly continuing on to the downside. 102.50, quite a strong level, so it looks like we have to think about that a little bit more, see how much you can retrace. Right now it seems like it's covering that gap. Right now it looks like it's covering that gap. We'll see how much it can retrace by before maybe pushing back down again. So that was what happened last night. Any questions so far? Put it into the chat, let me know. And big hello and good morning to David. How you doing? Hey Erwin. Hey Moss, how you doing? Hey Hiker's Diary, hey Goju, hey Jim Brown, good to see all of you. Very nice to see all the familiar names again, good to see you guys. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put it into the chat and let me know. Now, that was not the only thing that happened since the last time we spoke. Okay, what else happened was early this morning we had CPI data year on year for the Aussies, 5.6%, expected 5.2, came out at 4.9. A big slowdown here on the Aussie CPI number, which on hindsight now justifies that small blip. This looks like a small blip, going from 5.2 to 5.6, now back down to 4.9. But we did not see a big drop on the Aussie because of what happened to the dollar, right? The Aussie dollar at that time, at 8 a.m., we saw it drop, but it pushed right back up again. Firstly, that dropped because of that CPI data from the Aussies, but it pushed right back up again because at 9 a.m. we saw the RBNZ with their rate decision. RBNZ this time round keeping, well, not this time round, they have been keeping rates at 5.5%, right, since July. July was at, well, first they moved it up to 5.5 in May. July kept it at 5.5, again in August, again in October, now again in November. But this time a little bit different. We saw the Kiwi dollar on release of the news push very strongly to the upside. We were expecting for it to drop, right? We were expecting it for a drop. This move was because of the dollar weakness, and this move from 0.61, almost 0.6150 up to 62, so a good 50 pip move to the upside, was because of this news decision from the RBNZ. Why? Basically, although they kept rates on hold, reading the statement, they said to remain restrictive, but where was the line? Inflation remains too high, right? Inflation remains too high, and also that they've brought it back to the line where if inflationary pressures were to be stronger than anticipated, OCR would likely need to increase further. So as much as the Fed Reserve, or one of the members from the Feds, are talking about a possible rate cut, the RBNZ now is putting the idea of a rate increase slightly back onto the table again, right? And because of that, markets were considering it as a little bit of a hawkish view, and that's why we saw the Kiwi push to the upside by a good 50 pips. Okay, so that explains all that has happened since the last time we spoke. Now, coming up, we do have CPI number to be released for the Germans, flash CPI number to be released for the Euro, Spanish, and then a whole bunch else. Later tonight at 9:30, we do have preliminary GDP quarter on quarter to be released for the US, 4.9 to 5. Not expecting a big change here. Might hit 5 or might stay at 5. I think that's possibly not going to do too much. And then Governor Bailey from the Bank of England speaking at the event celebrating 50th anniversary of the London Foreign Exchange Joint Standing Committees. I don't think at this event he's going to go out there and say, oh, we're going to hike rates or we're going to cut rates, right? So I don't think this will be a major event or price volatility event. All the way through to tomorrow, we have Chinese PMI numbers to be released, OPEC meetings, followed by the core PCE price index. That's going to be quite crucial given what Member Waller was saying. If we do see inflation continue to slow down, that might bring around more downside to the dollar index. I'll tell you more about that during tomorrow's session. Core PCE price index is gaining importance because it is also the Fed Reserve's primary inflation measure. Okay, so back to what to look out for today. Not much. I think that it's going to be a bit of a retracement day. It looks like it may be a bit of a retracement day, but we're looking for, and I hate retracement days, right? I hate retracement days because it's a little bit of a guess. You're trying to figure out how much is it going to bounce up by before possibly continuing on with the longer term trend. So it's a little bit of a guess in terms of inflation, in terms of retracement before a continuation. And I do like to look for that trending scenarios. I prefer looking for that trending scenarios. So with that, then we'll look at the charts. Diana's asking for the NASDAQ 100. We can do that shortly, right after everything else. So today is the 29th of November, coming to the 30th. All right, so we did well on that. We take that away. We've seen a, we can take that away for now. I don't need that line. Check the H4. Let's check the H4 to make sure our lines are relevant. We know that was a good support. Now it's turned as a good resistance because of these levels here. We found that breakthrough quite easily, so we take that one away. We have 102.50 here. So if I put it just a round number of 102.50, that still makes sense. I would highlight another level here at 102.10. Right, at 102.10, this was the body that we saw here on the 10th of August. And then the tails here at 101.80. Okay, so now coming back to the present, again, this is on H4 time frame, so back to the H1. Now looking for how far it can retrace by. I'll check this to the downside. 23, take that away. Based on the longer term move, looks like it could, hey Desiree, how you doing? Get back up to about that point, which is near that trend line. On the slightly shorter term move, about that point as well. Right, and then for the really short term move, we're looking at 61, maybe 50, 61. I'll zoom in a bit more here. We're looking at about 50 was right there. Okay, so based on this, I'm looking, so remember this is the medium term move to the downside, the longer term move to the downside, and now again, that's the 50% level, which could, if it does push back up, what it would look like is a bit about that move back down again. Right, a bit about that move back down again, which could be testing that trend line all over again. So let me take that away for now. Let's look at those points as a 50% level. Okay, and it's currently at 102.73, thinking that it could retrace up to 102.90. Good 20 more pips move to the upside. It is covering the gap. It is covering the gap. Break past at 23, so we don't need 23. 38 is coming up close. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that if it does close above this point, which is now, Bollinger is going to be well within, so that's fine. I'm thinking that it could come up to this point. All right, let's keep that. and I would say that 29th of November dollar index, I don't see any major news. I don't see anyone else speaking. Okay, with that, then we could be looking for a retrace to 102.90, and if price, we're keeping almost the same view as yesterday, if price stays below the trend line, rejection could see it retest 102.50. Rejection can see price test 102.50 again. All right, that's the view. Just thinking whether it could break past this point. I see 61.8 right there. It looks a little bit unlikely that it would break past this point here. I'm not saying that it won't, not saying that it cannot, but it looks a little bit unlikely. That's also a good 103 round number resistance level. Hey Jamil, how you doing? Close your trade, made 83 pips. Which trade was that? I think it was the pound dollar, possibly. I know Jamil likes the pound dollar. So retrace to 102.90 below the trend line. Rejection, can see price test 102.50 again. We could see that. We could revise that later on, because what I want to see is what happens after it closes this gap, right? Because if it goes right past this, then we'll see that, or if not, it'll just sit there and push right back down again. But for now, we're looking at generally what I'm planning here would be a retrace, right? A retracement right across the board, but still looking for that dollar weakness to continue, especially given that if I zoom right out, you'll see the dollar index on that big downward decline, that trend line still holding quite strong. So we're looking for that to maintain. Okay, if it changes, if we do see a sudden breakout, if we see a breakout beyond the trend line, beyond that resistance level, could be a sustained recovery, but we can update you more on the Discord channel. So make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already. Okay, so that's the view, retracement before a continuation back down. D-Trading asks, what other markets aside from Forex that you're actively trading? I'm actively, that keeps me busy enough. I'm actively on FX, on gold. That's the active trading property on the more passive side. Right? Not, you're probably thinking whether I do crypto, don't do crypto at this point, but I would love to get into it. I just haven't have the enough brain juice to get to that for now. All right. Hey, Don Miguel. Good morning. How you doing? VIP on daily time frame. What's a VIP, Diana? VIB. Can retrace to that point. Let's look at the daily time frame. And when Diana tells me what's a VIP, I'm terrible with abbreviations. Let me guess what's a VIP. It could, so you're telling me that it could retrace a little bit more than that. Maybe back towards that 103.30 level, 103.25. Volume imbalance, small gap. Maybe about there, 103.20. I think you're talking about that point there. Or that point there. So yeah, coming back to this, yeah. Ooh, where did my box go? Hang on. Where'd my yellow box go? Oh no, I lost it. Uh-oh, I moved something. Sorry, 1 second, bear with me. Okay, I don't know why this yellow box runs around, but okay, there we have it. So what we're thinking is that it could get to just maybe below, retrace to 102.90 to 103.10 level, right? So long as it stays below that point and push down. So we could actually be looking at, no, I'm quite happy with that. So it could get up to maybe even that point there, right? But generally, right, how I approach this is a bit more of a, I'll let it retrace wherever it goes. I'm only looking for that continuation back down again. Okay, that keeps things simple. You're just looking for that one direction. You're not looking to, I wouldn't be looking to trade that back up. I'm just looking for it to turn back down. Okay, super, good job, Moss. Good to see that. Moss caught the US yen trade. I was hoping that a lot of you caught the US yen trade because that was almost like a bit of a textbook trade. I love that trade. The US yen has been doing very well for me. Okay, enough waffling around. Let's get to it. The Kiwi dollar did not trade down, so we'll take that away. That's being held up. Trend line still pushing to the upside. Fib level is still valid as we pull that right back up. Take that away. So that's found right at the bottom all the way, continuing right up to the top. 23.6 is at 0.6158. It's retracing right now. This dotted line was back there. I'm happy to take that away because that was just a reference point. Now looking at this, I want to do a quick one here just to have a look. Let's see whether we find any confluence. We have it broken 23, 38.2 and 23.6 is right there. 60.1.8 is right there. Okay, so if I do that, you see that if the dollar does retrace and push back down, we're looking for the Kiwi dollar to test and bounce, but I think that's a little bit too near. 6160 currently at 6171, so there's about 10 pips away. Might be a little bit near. But just thinking that if it does come all the way back down, it seems a little bit too far before a push back up. Okay, I think it would be fair. Let me just do one more quick check here. $50. It's right at a 50 level, could do that. Okay, so I'm actually looking at this. I think that would be fair to say that we have this level as a bit of an interesting level, 6160. All right, so we have those points there. I'll look for it to retrace, test and bounce, but or test here and bounce right back up. Okay, so in terms of a possible trade setup, we're looking for a bounce, 6-1, break that level, test and break. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a demand area, that point there. That's what I'm thinking, but why I don't like it that much is because if we were looking to buy 6165, for example, your take profit could go up to 55 pips. Your stop loss would be a bit waffly, all right? Could be anywhere in this range. And I would say a 25 pip would be reasonable. Okay, so what I'm actually looking for here would be come down, test, bounce back up, and then we look for that move. Okay, so 6165, 25 to 55. We look for that. Buy 0.6165, stop loss 25, take profit 55. You can keep that. I'll be happy with that. So long as it stays above this support level, I'll maintain that upward view. Then to the Aussie, I would actually take a little bit of a different view here on the Aussie. Right, broken this level, testing this resistance turned support. You can see right there. So I'm thinking, hey, what if we drag this right up? Right, you can see if I zoom that right out, you can see that trend line. If you catch the tails here, the tail is right there. More of that, oops. What if it breaks this support level? So we see, instead of thinking that the dollar could bounce back down, what if the dollar pushes right through? And because we have seen, inflation number for the Aussies, push that down initially. What if it breaks below this support level and this 38.2 level? All right, we could be looking to sell down 0.60. You could be looking at 25 pip stop loss. Let's see, where could it get to? 61 is a bit near. I would say that a 50 pip move. Yes, we can expect it. We could be looking for it to go all the way down, but I say a 50 pip move to the downside would be reasonable just at that point there. I could be looking at a bit of an earlier entry, so 6010, I can keep it a bit tighter at about 20 pips. I can be looking at about a 55 to the downside. Bit of a contrarian view here on the Aussie dollar, expecting a possible reversal. Driven, why I'm tempted to think of that, because it's really, I'm looking at that CPI number for the Aussies, thinking that, if the RBA takes that into effect, then consider that, no more rate hikes from the RBA. Given that inflation now is back to that 4.9%, very close to 2 to 3%, looking for that push. So 610, 20 to 55. Let's look for that. 0.6610, stop loss 20, take profit 55. Okay, so we did see, right? This is what encourages me, is when that news got released, we did see it go down from 6656 or 55 down slightly to 6636 or 35, about 20 pip move. If that pushes right back down, you can see also a rejection, a hammer or pin bar rejection of that resistance level of that high at 6650. All right. Losing my voice again. That's done. Now, very happy about the yen. All right, so we were looking, and I love it when this happens, is that, not only are we looking at an entry, but we look for it to come up to test that 38.2. It does that exactly, test and reject and push right back down. Right, so I've caught that move. I got in a little bit later. I only got about 110 to the downside. David held the yen all the way down to the support. Very nice. Which support? This support or all the way down there? Let me know. Right. Moss caught it as well. Someone else. Who else caught that? Let me see. Who else caught? One person else got 130 pips from Jimmy on the yen. So very big and good job to all of you. Very nice, Spiros. High five. 116 pips. So this again tells you why you have to turn up for these sessions that I do together with you guys, just highlighting trade levels together. All right. So that move worked out very nicely. A fantastic 100 over pips for so many of you. I'm absolutely delighted. Delights me more that you guys are hitting the profits, more than me hitting the profit, right? And yeah, I'm just glad. I'm super glad. Wiza got it too. Good job on TradingView. Fantastic. I'm super delighted. Made my day. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Absolutely makes my day to see you guys hitting your profit levels. It's not my profit levels, it's your profit levels because you guys took action. All right. Now back to it. I will stop gushing and being super happy, but back to it. Take that away because 61 broke. That level, I'll keep that because I want to see that point. Take a couple of this away. Erwin got into it as well. How many pips did you get, Erwin? Let me know. Let me know. Okay. Thanks for sharing, everyone. I really appreciate that you do share that you got onto the trades and you made good profits on this. Okay, so yen. Hey, but again, disclaimer applies, right? We might do it once or twice or many times over, but there will be times where we will enter trades and we will lose money. It's not always going to profit, so disclaimer applies as well, right? Okay, this one 23.6 is right there, and again, if we catch this, we have 38.2 right about there. So now I'm trying to guess with that retracement pushing back up, it's going to push the US yen back up. Is it going to reject back down? I will not be looking to buy the US yen, right? Just that big massive drop has you know, we've been making money on the drop. I'll just be a bit careful trying to buy it back up. This is a resistance level now. And we know that this level, well, that's well and truly broken. So we can take that away. Okay, that level, resistance level is holding. We'll keep that there. I'll consider this whole thing as a resistance area. All right, so as long as the price stays 147.50, that would be reasonable. Let me just check the next level up. And we do have another point here, and this actually looks like a more interesting level. This looks like a more interesting level that we could be looking out for. 147.80. 147.80 could be that point there as well. Okay, so nothing to do on the yen. Again, remember it's retracement day. I hate retracement days. I'm looking for it to continue back up. I'm looking for a possible reaction at about 147.80 for it to push back down again if we do see that dollar weakness come around after that retracement or the current retracement. Okay, this one I want to add in is retrace to this. I would say wait for retracement to complete. We could also see price to be below the trend line, rejection to see. Okay, so I want to wait for retracement to complete. Then, yeah, so it's going to push back up. I don't want to be buying even if it looks like it's pushing back up a bit more than that. We do see a confluence there. I wouldn't also be looking to sell too early. Okay. If you did that, it's not worth the. No, my nose is killing me. Hang on. It's not worth that. Okay, let me just take that away. David said formed a wedge pattern if the resistance holds. Very narrow, very not narrow, steep wedge pattern. Maybe a very steep wedge pattern if that holds. So what David is saying is that we have that move down, we have that, and if this level holds, we have that pattern there, right? It would be best if that holds. Okay, I'm looking at it doing that. I'm not going to bother whatever happens here on that retracement. I'm only going to be looking for a sell on the US yen if it comes back down and breaks below this 147.30 level again. So I'll be looking at 147.10. Oops, move that a bit nearer. 147.10. Tight stop 30 pips. Take profit. I'll try it down to the next support level here at 100 pips to the downside. Right, yes, you can get in earlier. That's a little bit more risky depending on your risk appetite. But I'll be looking for that push and then turn back down. If that holds, I don't think it will. It does look like it's going to have a bit more retracement on the dollar index. So I feel that that's going to push up. It's only whether it breaks above this area, or whether it comes up here and turns down, or it breaks right through and turns back down, then I'll be looking for that. Can I look to get in a little bit earlier? Maybe 147.20. Okay, I'll do 147.20. I'll still do a 30 pip on this with 112. We're looking again for a repeat of what we had yesterday. We had pretty much the same move, 30 pip stop, 112 to the downside, but this time just a bit lower. So 147.20. And that's all I'm changing is the price. We had 148.50. Now we're looking for 147.20. Looking for that downside move. Okay, there we go. And you know, the beauty about what we did, just harping about how well we did before, 147.50 we had at that point, right, is that if you got into that trade, it was actually a very small drawdown before you saw that good 100 over pip profit. That's the kind of trades I like. You know, I don't like big trades that have a big drawdown before coming back. You want to look for small drawdown trades, and that's what we like to look out for. Okay, testing that. So David, you know, you might have that with the wedge. We'll be watching that level. Watching that level quite closely. We'll see. Okay, I do think it's going to push up a little bit more. So it might do all the way or do that and then turn back down. But overall, I'm still looking only to sell down at 147.20. Then on to the pound. Dollar again did very well. I did that to the upside. I can't remember how many pips on that. Did not drop as much as I thought or I expected, right? So we take that away. but once it broke out of that, or once it broke above that resistance, we saw a straight push, almost no drawdown, a straight push up towards that resistance at 1.2730. Anyone caught the pound dollar to the upside? That was a good, almost 80 pips up for grabs there. Let me know if you caught that. I can't remember how many pips I caught on that one to the upside on a pound dollar, so that was good, done and dusted. Again, a pin bar rejection of that resistance level, now looking like it's retracing. Okay, I'll look at this and drag it right back up. Keep that view. I want to pay attention to this point here. No, actually I want to pay attention to this point here, which is right where it is now. Okay, because we saw it consolidating there before. So if that breaks, it'll come down to 23.6. Again, I can't say it enough. I just hate retracement days. Dollar index is holding, it's pushing, but it's holding at that point. Jimmy did 50 pips on the pound dollar. Good job. I think Jamil did 80 something pips on the pound dollar as well. Jan B was on the US yen, managed to get out with zero doubt weakness. Okay, we'll work on that, Jan B. Someone asked about the Bollinger Band. Check out my TradingView account. I did write a lot about the Bollinger Bands. I'll highlight that again on Discord if you haven't already seen it. So pound dollar retracing, I think. Let's check for the next resistance level, because we don't have another level up there. We have this point, so the next one up for pound dollar will be at that point at 1.27. I want to see 1.28. How about that? No, let's go a bit more conservative and say 1.2785. Back to the H1 time frame, right across. Pips Apprentice still in a trade from Monday, got in at 1.26. Wow, good job. 1.26, target is 1.275, almost 1.250. It came very close, 1.2746. It came to about 1.23733. Looks like, oh, if I were you, Pips Apprentice, I would have closed out already, right at that point or close to that point. But it looks like it could retrace. I'm possibly thinking it's going to hold there. Right, so it looks like a move like that back up again. Right, dollar index also is losing a bit of strength on that retracement. We'll have to look at that a little bit closer. Okay, but on this, what you could be looking for is a bounce. Sit at that point, bounce, and you can be looking for that. You could be looking for that move, and that's a bit riskier. I would say for the more risk adverse, you'll be looking for it to break that resistance 1.2740, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the upside. Hey, remember again, everyone, it is the last two days to the end of the month, so it's a bit of a time to protect your P&L record as well. So maybe something to think about. Right, I'm looking for this to bounce. I just don't know how far it's going to go down by. You can be looking for that. It could bounce off this point. Okay, no. I would say, we have had big moves we're going to look for that retrace. We want to see that retrace and push back up. The best case scenario is it comes all the way down, we'll buy from the support. If not, then I'm only looking for a breakthrough to the upside. Okay, so let's keep it a bit simple there on the pound dollar. 1.2740, stop loss 44 pips, or stop loss 20 pips, take profit 45 to the upside. Because I just don't know whether it's going to come down to this point, stay here, come down here, or bounce off this. So I think that that's going to be a, yeah, wait for the retracement. Exactly, Jamil. Wait for that to retrace and bounce, then it'll play out. Just follow the trend to the upside. So we're looking for the pound dollar to buy at 1.27 4020 to 45. 1.2740, stop loss 2045. This is wait for retracement to complete. There we go. Okay. Then on to the euro. Our double top pattern did not work, but that's fine because we caught other trades. So take all that away. Now that whole move to the upside, you can see that we do have it right now at that 23.6 level. Next resistance up here at 1.1042, which was way back in when it loads. 11th of August, 7/11 of August. Again, this time, because it's quite close, I actually do think that we might see that push down and turn back up. All right, so what I'll be looking for, you're welcome there, Jamil. Thank you for your input. It's a bounce off the support. It has to stay above that support level of 1.0965, so 1.0975, right? Because if that breaks, then we can take that away, support level there, 1.0975, stop loss 20 pips, take profit could go up to 65 to the upside. Dollar weakness to continue. Okay, that's what I'll look out for. Take those away. Bounce, retrace, bounce, good. Okay, so 1.0975, stop loss 20, take profit 65. Dollar sell not sell, buy. Let's go retrace. Never mind. 1.0975, stop loss 20, take profit. What was it again? 65. Take profit 65. Okay, there we go. Let's see what happens here. That's fine, happy with that. US Swiss franc, the Swissy had that big drop, retraced slightly, not as much as we thought, pushed right back down. I don't trade the Swissy, but analysis was nearly on point. Take that away now. I think we can take that away for now. Resistance level is there, support is there, interim level still valid at 1st of September. Dollar retracement is going to see Swissy retrace as well. Trend line would not be too valid at this point. see it test and reject back down. What you could be looking for is a test and reject. Then you would be looking to sell down 8790, stop loss tight, no more than 15. Take profit down 40 pips to the downside. Right, test reject. So okay, I'm happy with that. 8790. Sell. Let me see. 8790. Stop loss 15. Take profit 40 to the downside. There we go. There we go. All right, and I think Dyna made on the CAD, right, did not retrace it, just sat there before right back down. So very good job. I think it was Dyna who did that. Take that away. Desiree did gold around 1918 to 1923. Good job, went to bed with a good profit, so very nice. That's now my resistance. Look at that, check that on the H4 time frame. We can see that that's a good support turned to resistance. I would actually, because there is such a big gap here, right? There's such a big gap here on the H4 time frame, and no big reason why we should see it fill that whole thing. I'm actually going to start thinking that what if the dollar does continue to push back up? It might look like a bit of a false break at this point. You know, on a dollar strength scenario, could we be looking to buy this up? This is a counter trend move. You know I don't like it that much, but we're looking at it as a possibility. Breaking right above that 23.6 level, maybe about 1.3580. Now give it a bit more space. 1.3585. Stop loss about 20 pips. Take profit about 50 back up. Okay, a retracement. A retracement back up on the US CAD if we see the dollar strength or recovery sustained. Okay, so a bit of a different view on this. We're looking to buy 1.3585, stop loss 20. Can we go less? No, 20 to 50. Okay, stop loss 20, take profit 50, and this is on a DXY recovery scenario. All right, there we go. As if we see that push right through and push right up, then we could be looking to buy this right back up again. Okay, and then on to where am I? Gold. Okay, on to gold. Now, well, we spoke about this. I thought it was going to come down, test and bounce. Did not. Actually set right across before scaling right up because of that dollar weakness. Did not catch this at all. I totally missed this whole move because I just sat there, and a bit like what Jambi was thinking, you know, I just kept thinking it has to retrace. I'm looking for it to retrace a bit before I want to try and get in. Did not retrace, and if you look at this, it was right outside of the Bollinger most of the time. So to me, when it's outside the Bollinger, I was expecting it to come back in a bit like this. Right, push right out. I thought it would come back in before pushing back up, or like these scenarios here. No, not a good one. Like this scenarios, push right up and then push back up again. or like that retrace before continuing up. Did not happen. It stayed outside, or I pushed right off the Bollinger and stayed right out all the way. So I totally missed that move on the yen. On the gold, was focused on the yen and everything else. But good job, Desiree, on trading it up from 1918, which was right about there, right up to 2038, right about there before going to bed. It's a late night at 1 a.m. Right now, retracing back down a little bit. Okay, so with that, take that away because that's done. Now the question is, again, is it going to retrace? Is it going to keep going back up? It all depends on what the dollar is going to do. The trend line is there, but I think it's a bit too far away to be valid. Look at it on the H4 time frame to look for the next resistance high, which is not there, it's very far away. Right? And you know, the funny thing is, I do have a number of people who are in the gold industry, right? In the gold industry, and when it was right at the when it was at that point in October, they said, you know, that's it. We're not going to see any more upside on gold. We're going to see it reverse all the way back down. I just thought, really? Right, it came back down and then now it's right back up again. So if you get it wrong, don't worry about it. There are professionals in the gold industry who are getting it wrong as well. Okay, you're not alone if you get it wrong. You're not alone if you get it right either. Okay, so we have that point there at 1:20:45. Waiting for gold to retrace, did not clear the top of the 2018, went past 2021 and just rocketed all the way. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Desiree. Yes, the training hopefully does help. Yeah, David, thanks for remembering. You know, they were telling me, oh, that's it, and now you see it right back past it. So now gold sitting right there, 23, holding. Naturally, we are going to wait or look for that continuation. No reason to bet against or to go counter trend on gold. We are always looking to keep buying it to the upside. When it drops, look for an upside potential again. It needs to stay above 2039. Right, especially, well, in the near one, 2039, but definitely 2036. Needs to stay above that point before we're going to see further upside. That's what we had before, but that's not relevant anymore. We can take that with that previous high there. Okay, so if it breaks above 2050, right, don't do anything now. Don't feel like you have to do anything now. Only if it goes above 2050, then we could see 2066. All right, and that would mean that big push down. You'll see the dollar index now. Well, we've gone past the hour, but you know, we keep going. The dollar index completed that, and now sitting right there. It could look very similar to what we saw yesterday. Right, push right up, and then in the next hour at 4 o'clock, retrace back. Hey, Royal Governor, you're absolutely 1 hour late, but you can catch the replay. Sitting right there, it might just sit there and push down. It might not even retrace all the way. So, you know, generally that's why we're still looking at the dollar weakness. Gold, I want to see that break above 2050 to push up towards 2066. That's all I'm waiting for on gold. And I think I missed it the last time around on that big push. I think this time maybe a little bit more focus on gold than the other pairs. We'll see. I might do yen and gold maybe. So we're looking for it to break through, no, above 2050, we're going to see 2066. Above 2050 could trade up to 2066. Okay, I like that. So I like that view, and you can see that's also from that level 38.2 failed to break above, turning back down. Okay, but a bit too early to say that it's going to completely reverse from now. We're going to wait and see what happens. With all that, any questions, let me know. We have the Nasdaq 100 for Diana. Wait, what's a big push up? Let me just check the longer term. Cleared that big previous high there. Now it becomes support. We can keep that. Let me just check. What else do we have? Nothing else. Okay, we do have something there. Very far away because it's on the daily time frame. Check the H4. Let me just scroll around a little bit first. It is right at this point as well. Okay, so we have this whole level here. If that breaks, we're going to see a push to the upside. So back to the H1 time frame, back to the current. We're looking at these levels, which is sitting right there now. I'm sure one of the questions is it going to cover this gap? I don't think so. I think it's a bit far off to do that. It's covered that. We would definitely be looking for dollar weakness to push that back up, right? Because of the inverse relationship. Again, I need to check the H4. I do look at it on a bigger time frame on the indices. There are a bit of a level there. Right in the middle there. I'll catch this middle here. That's a whole consolidation that'll probably stay. So what I think is likely to happen in this current scenario, would be not that big a move to the upside. I think that if it can clear above 1650, and then we're going to see 16,257. Yep. So we are looking for a break above yesterday's high to get up to 16,257. That needs to be driven by the dollar weakness. Oh, look at that. Just to say dollar weakness, we see that push down. So that needs to be driven by the dollar weakness. We need to see that push up. Okay? I hope I answered your question there. Not something I always trade, but just based on a technical basis and the relationship with the dollar index, I'm looking for that. You're most welcome, Diana. I want to do a quick check. We see that bounce, right? So we do have some levels which might be triggering already. So let's update the Aussie. I don't think it's going to retrade. I don't think it's going to correct back down. I want to see it bounce actually. All right, so we can actually, that's on a counter trend move. Aussie, I would also be looking, nah, I'll keep that. I don't like that move. I don't think there should be a big move up. We have the Kiwi for that big move up already. We have the Aussie. So in a situation like this, what I would be looking at, it's that, for example, on the Kiwi, right, you might be thinking, oh, it's triggered our level, hasn't closed yet, price hasn't closed yet, so I will wait it out a little bit. You just don't know whether, it's only been 10 minutes, an hour, so it might retrace before pushing back up. So don't rush into that trade. Aussie bouncing back up, I would only be looking to buy if there's enough strength on the Aussie back above that previous high. In a situation like that, a 55 pip move for that point, and then a tight 15-20 pip stop loss like that. US yen broke out of the level, still looking good, still looking like we have that set up, so we're waiting for that. Pound dollar coming close, pushing back up. Euro dollar bouncing back. I want to see that retrace. If it breaks past that point, I'm not going to do what I did on the Aussie because there's not a lot of space to that resistance. No point doing that. Look at that. No chance at all. If it breaks that support, then you do have a big move to the downside. I would focus on the other pairs maybe. But if you really had to on the Sweezy, then there is another level here that you could be looking for at that point. So you could be Sweezy. If that continues pushing down, you can look to sell down from one support, but there, tight stop to there, like that. Okay, 15 to 30, that makes sense as well. It's a bit too early right now, so we're still looking to see what develops on the dollar index. CAD holding that resistance, we're going to give that a chance as a counter trend trade. Okay, so went through a lot, covered a lot. I hope you enjoyed the session. Do remember, help me out, click the like and subscribe button. That would help massively. If you haven't already, do join the Discord channel. The link is there. Last question there from Diana is, I don't use the IC platform. I do have an account there. Will you recommend any platform allowing trade for futures? Yes, we did speak about you trading futures. I haven't got into checking about the futures platform, unfortunately. Let me. Can you reach out to me on Discord? I'll check on that for you, and then I'll let you know about a good futures trading platform. All right, Diana. Hey Mev, God, this is live on TradingView. This is live, and but we're just at the end of the session. We start this every day, 3 p.m. GMT +8. So if you haven't, or if you've just missed us, then I'll look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, same time, same place. For now, trade well, trade safe, and I'll see you again. Take care now. Thanks, everyone.